Welcome to Enigmatic Anomalies. This is Terry Ling, and I'm your host for tonight, and we'll be speaking with Rebecca Renfroe. She's a contactee since childhood and has been aboard the round and silver type crafts. We look forward to hearing from her tonight, so stay tuned. We'll be discussing her different scenarios she's experienced in her life. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
For hundreds of years, those that have been curious enough to look to the stars in search of something beyond ourselves have been shunned, persecuted, and laughed at. Now, it's time for those curious few to laugh back. Saucer Seekers is a hilarious online comic strip that takes a humorous look at our world of disinformation while facing everyday life from the point of view of those who devote their lives to the search for the truth. The Saucer Seekers! TheSaucerSeekers.com.
Hi, Rebecca. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Hi, Terry.
Good evening. I'm looking over your bio here, and it reads as long as the Declaration of Independence. And you're literally one of the most interesting people I think I know. I'm noticing here that you were born in Fort Belvoir, Virginia, and you grew up in Lakeland, and looks like also you hold a BA from the Cincinnati Conservatory of Music and an MA from the University of Cincy. Very impressive. Also, you're a music minister and songwriter of Christian music, and this year marks your 14th year of Have a Heart for the Homeless with the Talbot House.
That's raising funds for the poor and needy. We have a wonderful state-of-the-art program here in Lakeland for those who are in need.
That's wonderful. And you're also a speaker with MUFON. I can attest to that.
Go out when I'm asked.
And
like
also
you.
the NDE at the ARE, which is the Edgar Cayce Foundation.
Right. Spoke in October there.
Awesome. My goodness. And then you also are featured in a book by Tree Galagher, Time of the Unfolding, E.T.'s Angels and Me.
Yes, I don't have my name. She chose Sunny and Synchronicity. It's chapter 15.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, seriously, I could go on and on. There's just so much, and being a personal
my main
friend.
Job, Terry, I know, and you are a wonderful friend and a wonderful assistant state director in the state of Florida. I can't sing your praises enough.
Oh, well, thank you.
My main job, as you know, is taking care of my Alzheimer's mother. That's
Yes.
that above everything, yeah.
You are one busy person. Well, so tell me, let's get right into it. There's so much to discuss tonight, and we only have a half hour, so we want our viewers to hear everything. Anything new going on with you tonight that you'd like to talk about?
Well, as a matter of fact, something absolutely very different in having contact happen. It was 7 o'clock tonight. I was leaving my sister's home, and I had just finished my Pilates. It's a group of women and teachers, and we take every Tuesday night. I walked out of the door, and I looked straight up, and I've got my star chart in front of me. So it says to look in the center, which is about Cassiopeia and Andromeda is the area in the Milky Way, according to the star chart I have here, because I'm trying to go over what just happened tonight. And as looking up, as I always do, like many of us do, we look around, and I noticed that there was the local air traffic going from south to north and west to east, as we have a local airport here, the Lakeland Lender. And I noticed that going across from the northeast, crossing over to the southwest, and as I'm looking on the star chart, it looked closer to coming out of the Andromeda area and then reaching through the Milky Way, going into the northern cross of the southern triangle area. And I looked up and I saw it, and I said, well, there's no sound, there's no airplane sound, and it's a little more distant than the others, traveling at a steady pace. There's no blinking lights, and it's on a very straight course, just know its own way. And I just automatically went, okay, are you a UFO? Let's get you identified. And I said, okay, if you are, I need you to stop. Terry, it slowed down.
Oh, my.
And that's what I said. And I said, okay, we're serious here.
Uh-huh.
So I put I put myself up against the car, and then I threw my head back and protected my head because I'm looking up. And
that's always a good idea.
Yeah, because I needed to get comfortable. And I said, okay, I need you to come to a complete stop. And it did. Now, this is very different. This is very, very different.
Intelligent.
So I don't remember. Everything's going very, very quickly, and I was quite excited because I've never had that kind of encounter. So it's staying there, and I said, all right, I need you to now cross back over and come up above me. So the thing then changes course and starts coming up above me, still maintaining this long distance. So I get myself, and now I'm leaning up, and I'm completely against the car. All right, so you're up above me. Okay, really good. Now I need to identify if I can send a comm, so I can identify the species. I said, are you the tall Goldens that I'm familiar with since childhood? There isn't any answer. And it then proceeds to get directly over me, and I think, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm here. If we're going for a ride, take me right here. I'm out. I'm first. Mom's taken care of. We've got the caregivers there. I'm through with the lesson. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
It sent down a digital type of scan that's unknown to me, and it went from the middle thoracic up to the top of the head.
Now, just wait. Okay, hold on. A digital scan.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to put into words what's very different for me.
Okay.
This is not like going aboard the craft, or I've got my entity that I'm familiar with standing in front of me, or having a conversation, or being aboard a craft. This is different.
Did you see anything?
It's like watching the numbers coming down, like watching digital numbers.
Okay.
And they're coming down.
Wow.
And then goes to the thoracic area and then comes back up to the middle of me as if it was scanning. I'm trying to think back on this and be as clear as I can. As if it were scanning to locate a chip that it could identify.
Oh.
So it goes back up, and I'm going, well, aren't you, am I not going up? Is there not enough room? What's up with this? And it's like, well, we're more on surveillance. Surveillance, like a drone. And I'm going, yeah, but I'm communicating with you. Who is this? I'm not identifying. And like you know what telepathic is like. You know.
Well, sure. How wonderful of you
as a child.
How wonderful of you to ask these intelligent questions. This is great. Go on.
Well, this was different because I expected to be taken up. I expected to, okay, if you're going to come back over and respond like that as 2008, but I haven't been aboard since 97.
Uh-huh.
When that one was designed specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, this is different. And I'm still leaning up against the car, and I'm still looking ahead. So I said, well, all right, if you're not picking me up and you're on surveillance, and I can't ID, and it felt very robotic, but yet bio and robotic at the same time, and yet connected to another source. So I'm wondering, well, how can I be having this comm? You can have it with a sentient being and a human, or a military man who's got a really good sense of the psychic and knows how to use his telepathic abilities. So this was different feel. So I start to walk back through my car. I think this is ended. I said, all right, if you're not going to take me up, you're not going to ID yourself, I'm going on home. So I walk through the car, I look back up, and it's moved.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, I'm still at odds as to what if it want. I want you to take an immediate right turn.
Did it move closer to you, or what do you mean moved?
No, it still maintained this distance, and now it's stationary again. Mm-hmm. And I said, I need you to take an immediate right turn. You did everything that I'm talking about before, and the comment came back was, can't. Will be tracked. I have to remain stationary, and that's new to me too.
Oh,
that was brand new. I had no idea. So I just got in my car. I came home, put my purse down, and just sat outside for about 10 minutes, just begging. Okay, I'm home now. I want you to come back. And so the caregiver finds me standing outside. I've turned off all the outside lights. Just ready. I was so pumped, and I'm ready again. I don't care if you're a probe. You got to come back around again. Mm-hmm. Now, what was interesting, Terry, was 2008, 7:30 at night. I'm facing south. It's November 2008, when all that activity was stirring up again. My mother had deciding. I got the pictures, and all of this was going on again. And there were 2 stars up. And like tonight, I recognized that something was different. They were stationary. And the one that I knew was not a star, I said, you don't look it, ID yourself. Way outside of our atmosphere. It shoots off to the right, does a prep, creates the short-term wormhole, pulls the space towards it, 2 gravitational lines appear, it comes through, it's right up above the house, and the pull in the thoracic area happens. Mm-hmm. I don't fall to the ground, but that whole pulling of space, like being in water, like when you move space. And the comm is, I'm going, all right, you're here, and the comm says, oh, you're not the one we're supposed to pick up. And I said, didn't you know that when I sent the comm? I'm trying to find out who you are. And there's like this laughter, and then it takes off and goes through the red exit.
Good grief.
And what was interesting was identifying it, but this actually did turns and stopped when I asked it to. I'm hoping that as you're recording this, somebody else can confirm this same type. Mm-hmm. So that's what happened tonight.
Well, earlier today I was talking with Clifford Stone, and one thing that he mentioned was when you are in the presence of the extraterrestrials, you do need to ask questions. So it's great that you had the wherewithal to be asking these questions. That's wonderful. So what do you think that you have gleaned? We've got 1 minute, and then we have to go to break. What do you think you gleaned from this tonight?
As many questions as I was trying to ask, because they didn't pick me up there. And why would they do what I'm asking them to do? Why would they scan the way they did? And I have just as many questions because they didn't recognize when I asked, are you the tall golden? It's as if they were from Morocco and they'd never met a Chinese person or an American.
Okay, Rebecca, we'll hold that thought because this is all so interesting. We've got to take a short break. We'll be right back, so stay tuned.
My name is Michael IV, and I'm the lead investigator for the Seekers Paranormal Society. About 7 years ago, I had my first paranormal experience. Now armed with the latest in paranormal equipment, I'm setting out to find the truth. Joining me on my quest to capture evidence is my equipment tech Ramon Vivas and investigator Steve Weldon. Take a front seat into our paranormal world as we are driven into the unknown. We are the Seekers Paranormal Society.
SeekersParanormal.com.
Okay, well, welcome back to Enigmatic Anomalies. We're here with Rebecca Renfroe, hearing about her experience from tonight. So this is really noteworthy news breaking. You heard it first here. So Rebecca, we were talking about the takeaway from tonight, and you had said that you've got as many questions now as you did before.
I do.
But what are you thinking collectively after all of this?
That's an excellent question, Terry. Wow. And I think as I'm sitting here in my room talking to you and whoever is listening, I'm looking at the booklet where I just spoke in October at Virginia Beach at the Edgar Cayce Foundation. Uh-huh. And does ET contact affect our spiritual life? And tonight's encounter and this calm and this particular communication with this unique species aboard and what happened, it keeps me in awe because I had been asking my higher power, as I understand God, because I've been a very strong Christian, as you are. Mm-hmm. And in that faith, I ask from time to time, please reconfirm for me an encounter. Keep me abreast of what the extraterrestrials are doing on our planet. Please bring me back in contact. I would prefer that you've got people around, that you've got witnesses. But I think that it was an answer to my prayer, number one, and it was something totally different. And that's the best I can answer because I'm still questioning, and I will probably sit down and write it up and then put it in my my chronology.
Sure, it's a lot to ponder, that's for certain. Do you feel like you understand what species it was? You had asked
No.
if it was, okay, no.
No.
Okay.
So, and it could not identify the tall goldens. It did not recognize what I was asking.
Okay, very good. Well, I hope that the information does come to you readily, because I know that this kind of thing, as well as our listeners, these kinds of things will definitely drive you a little crazy while you're looking for the answers. But surely they will come, and surely you will know what it was all about tonight, you know. And
part of it, the overall view in your excellent question that you asked me, was that they are there, surveying, watching, in a different location than the angelic realm, which is very obvious since I was a child. It's such a major difference between the sentient beings of extraterrestrials and those in the angelic realm. And that was reinforced tonight.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
Well, now, some of the other things that have happened to you along the way, are you free to share any of that with us tonight?
Yes, I'm looking down at my chronology poster, which I'm now going to be able to to add this to in terms of awareness. Everything began at 7 in the 1950s.
Uh-huh.
And then I had a large chunk of time that, like you and many others, I have to look back through my life and look at the span in which there wasn't consistent contact, because it jumped and then started again back up very actively in 1992 and has been that way since then. Different encounters, different species, different activity, trying to also associate how the shapeshifters work in through this, how seeing the lights work in, and the intelligence involved, tones and frequencies.
How do you feel about the paranormal being a part of this whole thing?
I don't have a problem with that, Terry, and the reason is that if you have been familiar with something since childhood, you realize that, let's say, for instance, let me use this as an illustration. A pilot aboard his plane is going to encounter what many will consider the paranormal. He's going to see the lights or the craft. Maybe all of his instruments are going to go haywire due to magnetic pull and electromagnetics and all the other things that are going on. Some would consider that paranormal. In the midst of that, sometimes the crafts can open up portals, or they're coming through, or taking an exit. And I was using that as an illustration, because sometimes we will, scientifically something's happening, but yet at the same time somebody is going to say, well, this is paranormal because I'm going through this, or I'm having this experience, or I'm seeing this color. When I had a lot of activity for 5 years aboard different crafts and seeing different things, when I had 5 years on a ranch where I live here in Florida, there were portals and incidents where paranormal activity would occur because there was so much UFO activity at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody can consider, let's say, for instance, at one point there was a lot of activity, and I noticed that whenever I walked into a room, the television would turn on and go blue, instruments would turn, electrical energy was just very hyped out of my hands. Anything I touched for 2 weeks after intensive activity, there would be healing. That's not my natural ability. That's not my natural gift. But yet it was heightened, and somebody can say, well, that's paranormal.
It was like the afterglow of the moment.
That's very good. I don't consider something paranormal. I consider this normal.
Yes, I understand.
All of it normal.
Mm-hmm.
Just as you would, because you've had a lot of contact and sightings. So for me, since I'm accustomed to being around certain species, not a lot, only a few, I don't know how many there are, but yet having observed the difference between what they will teach you versus what an angelic presence will bring you,
mm-hmm.
I have a difference here. So, and then what somebody's going to call the paranormal is not paranormal to me. But we have to use these words to help delineate and explain things.
Sure, it's the only way that we can do that. We have to take another quick break, so hold that thought, and when we come back, we'll continue on with Rebecca Renfroe. Stay with us.
For hundreds of years, those that have been curious enough to look to the stars in search of something beyond ourselves have been shunned, persecuted, and laughed at. Now, it's time for those curious few to laugh back. Saucer Seekers is a hilarious online comic strip that takes a humorous look at our world of disinformation while facing everyday life from the point of view of those who devote their lives to the search for the truth. The Saucer Seekers! TheSaucerSeekers.com.
Welcome back. Again, this is Terry Ling, and we're speaking with Rebecca Renfroe. And Rebecca, we basically just barely scratched some of the things that we had wanted to cover tonight. So we were in the middle of talking before break about how the extraterrestrial kind of melded in with the paranormal that you've had in your life. Any final thoughts on that?
I think it's a blend of using scientific terms with the other terms. I think if we could speak of both of them and use both terminology, I think that would help. But it's really not the abnormal or the para, but we have to use that. Any activity which will involve extraterrestrial crafts will often open portals and areas. It's just what happens. It will also heighten the senses, psychic abilities, healing abilities, other things that are innate. It also activates the DNA. It does a number of things during encounters. This segue that people talk about, does the Sasquatch, or can humanoid animals or animal humanoids also enter? Yes, I used to see that as well. So I don't understand it all. I just know that it happened, and it should not be taken out of the discussion with UFOs. It's just a part of it.
Right.
I think the most important thing I'd like to close with, and Terry, I'm so grateful to you and Kevin for asking me to be a part of an enigmatic anomaly, if I can pronounce it correctly. That's a tongue twister for the theater. It sure is. I think why do I speak? And my purpose, I believe, is to not just share my story, but to educate to the best of my ability what contact has been in my life, the set of protocols that I try to set encountering a species or a craft, which I believe MUFON outlines very well, and to talk about my extreme interest in the propulsion systems. So those are the three areas: is education, contact protocols, and propulsion interest. And all that my heart goes out to the abductees and people who are taken against their will. Because I can't imagine how it would be for me if, since I was a child, had I been taken and scared and frightened all my life. Because my waking hours have been with species in aboard craft. And so I don't remember something, I don't remember it. But I don't have the traumatic things that I hear about, and my heart goes out to that community and those people. And I think you feel the same way.
Yes.
And this is why I speak and want to continue to speak. and to talk about the differences I see between the realms and the layers and the dimensions, and how I'm still looking for answers just like everybody else.
Uh-huh. There's just so darn many of them.
Oh.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being a part of Enigmatic Anomalies tonight. We certainly are going to need to have you back and have another half-hour time frame to cover other questions that we've got for you. I'm hoping that you'll be comfortable enough to come back on.
I'd love to, Terry.
Oh, that would be great. And I'm so excited that you've had this sighting tonight. And I'm hoping that you do get a complete understanding of what has happened. And like I mentioned, I was speaking with Clifford Stone earlier today, and he was saying that in these times when we do have the one-on-ones with them, we really need to consider the questions that we will ask them. And I'm amazed. You've done such a wonderful job in interacting with them. You know, perhaps you'll get it as the next day goes on or whatever. You'll start realizing, because sometimes we have the ability to pick up what actually happened or transpired over a week or over a month. It comes to us little by little. We don't always get everything the very first night.
You're right.
You know what I mean? I know that's happened to you because that has happened to me in the past.
Mm-hmm. And I think writing it down will be helpful as we go, keeping the star chart in front of us, reviewing it, and writing it out, making sure we stay within the timeline, and all of that. That's very helpful. You're right, Gary.
Okay. Well, all right, so we're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you again, Rebecca, for being with us, and we look forward to another time with you. This is Terry Ling saying good night to everybody.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Bye. Night.
My name is Michael the Fourth, and I'm the lead investigator for the Seekers Paranormal Society. About 7 years ago, I had my first paranormal experience. Now armed with the latest in paranormal equipment, I'm setting out to find the truth. Joining me on my quest to capture evidence is my equipment tech Ramon Vivas and investigator Steve Weldon. Take a front seat into our paranormal world as we are driven into the unknown. We are Seekers Paranormal Society.
SeekersParanormal.com